The moment I tried talking like them, it's like I forgot how to speak English. How will I be eating potato that they've mashed together, they now put milk inside? If I want to eat porridge, let me know I'm eating porridge. When I was in Nigeria, anytime you hear people saying, I'm going abroad, people always act like as if, oh, I'm going to heaven. What I've realized after living in Canada for over 3 years is that life here changes you. From the way you talk, the way you eat, the way you parent, the way you see life, just everything. Today, I'll be sharing 7 major lessons I've learned. First thing is your accent and communication. You don't have to change your accent for people to understand what you're saying. As immigrants in a new country, most of us have the tendency to try to change our accent, thinking that this would make people understand us. But sometimes reverse is the case. And you know why? Because you're trying to change your accent, another kind of accent is coming out that is different from the accents they have. So in the process, you are sounding funny instead of understandable. From my own experience, I realized that in a case where you are trying to change your accent and you're talking fast, they are just like, pardon, I can't hear what you're saying. In as much as I'm not saying that maybe some words like, we'll say water and you say water, some things like that, they might be like, they don't understand what you're saying. But trying to change your whole accent, the whole way you talk can be chaotic. The thing is, normally when you're talking to a Nigerian and you're talking to a Canadian, you notice that you can morph into the way the person you're talking to speaks. So if you're talking to an Asian, you just notice, oh, I'm speaking like them, so that they can understand you. Sometimes when I hear myself speak and I'm listening to some of my videos, I'm like, if you don't used to speak like this before. But I'm saying that even if you have to change it, please temper justice with mercy. I know the pressure is real. Let me give you an example. So I went to a work function and I was one of the only few Black people at that function. In fact, on my table, I was the only Black person. So everybody was saying one thing, this person would say their own, they would say their own. And I noticed that when it got to my turn, I didn't want to talk because I was like, will these people understand what I'm saying? I now noticed that the moment I tried talking like them, it's like I forgot how to speak English. I was like, is it not better for me to just speak normally? So what I did was, I now told myself, just speak normally. And I realized that it worked. The sad thing, I said something funny and nobody was laughing. I was like, oh, who sent me to talk? When I got home and my husband and I were now talking, because my husband does not form accents, he will say it the way it is. So he was not telling me that when he talks to his colleagues at work, he just says it the way it is. He talks slow so they will understand what he's saying. But that you're now talking, everything is now scattering all over the place. I don't think they need it. Sometimes some people will do as if they don't understand what they are saying. You say, I don't understand your accent. I think some people just pretend because people that understand, they understand what you are saying. So don't cave into the pressure of accent. Speak your English the way you know it. They will understand. Number 2 is adapting to the food. The food that you thought was irritating will start being yummy to you. I can say that I'm one of the people that learned that lesson. I've never been out of Nigeria before I moved to Canada with my family. So when they gave us some food in the plane, I was like, how will I eat this kind of food? And when we go to the store and we see foods like mashed potatoes, I was saying, how will I be eating potato that they've mashed together, they now put milk inside? If I want to eat porridge, let me know I'm eating porridge. But some weeks ago, I ate mashed potatoes and I loved it. I would say, I cannot eat rice that does not have stew or that does not have pepper. But I'm someone that I cannot even remember the time I ate pepper the way I normally eat it. So I noticed that the longer you stay somewhere, you just start adapting to their food. Before, my husband and I used to buy lots of African food, but you just notice that gradually, you're starting to eat foods that they eat. And it has even saved us a lot of money because trying to import food from back home is very expensive. Number 3 is working from home. Like they say it, I was a corporate girly when I was in Nigeria. I was working in the bank, always in my gown, in my heels, dressing up, going to work. And I can remember that when we got to Canada, then I said, I told my husband, I said, I cannot do work from home. I cannot cope. I will not even see anybody in the company to talk to. Only me will just be at home. I don't want this kind of life. There were some job offers I got at that time. I think I got one that was fully from the office, one that was hybrid, and one that was work from home. So we now told ourselves that we only have one car. If he gets a job that will take him to the office, will I now have to be hopping from one train to another or bus station to another in the winter? That I should just get the work from home job and I should be doing it. And if I feel that eventually I don't like it, I can just change it. But see, I'm almost 3 years in now, and I don't even want to have it any other way. In fact, when you hear people talk about work from home, some people are like, call us back to office. It means I'm done with that job. I really love working from home. It has made life flexible for me. It has created work-life balance for me. In fact, a very perfect example is when I was pregnant. I used to be so weak during my pregnancy, but this work from home really helped me. There were times I had to take permission from work. I'll just tell my boss, I'm not feeling too well. And she will say, take the rest of the day off. So imagine I was working in the office. I'm not feeling fine, and I have to drive from the office back home. Working from home is one of my best decisions that I've made in Canada. Number 4 is that no place is perfect. When I was in Nigeria, anytime you hear people saying, I'm going abroad, people always act like as if, oh, I'm going to heaven. Just as everybody has their problem, every country also has its problem. Everybody is just packaging. You see that thing that you're complaining about in Nigeria, where you are going, we don't have that problem. But that thing that you're celebrating in Nigeria, they won't have that thing. It's just knowing how to choose your battles wisely. There is no perfect place at all in the whole wide world. No matter how beautiful it is, every country has its own problems. Number 5, parenting here is not for the faint-hearted. It is not. Your child goes to daycare. The food they are eating at daycare is different from the food you are cooking at home. And my daughter is a very picky eater. I want to eat sandwich. I want to eat this. I want to eat that. If you know the number of recipes I have on my phone, just trying to learn what my children can eat, it's been a lot. And also, children here are too vocal. It's something that even adults will be like, I'm not as confident as this. You know, in Africa, in Nigeria to be precise, when an elder is talking, just don't look them in the eye. But a child will look you in the eye and be asking you questions, and you'll be like, don't you have respect? But they call it confidence, adjusting to that new reality that, these children, why are they acting like this? Or you're telling your child something and the child is asking you, why should I do this? Why should I do this? You're like, when an adult is telling you to do something, you just say, because I said so. You cannot say because I said so. You need to show the reason why you need to do this. I don't know if this is peculiar to being in another country or it's just the general phenomenon. Another thing I noticed about parenting in Canada is that it's like every child must have a particular sport or vocation they do. We'll see people that will ask, so what have you enrolled your child for? You'll be like, enrolled my child for? Yes, now, you either enroll your child for swimming lessons or music or sports, My husband and I will be like, oh, it's true. We just have to enroll our children. So sometimes you're under that pressure, like every child has something. Back in Nigeria, the major thing is you go to school, you go to church, and then you have extra lessons. The teacher is already waiting for you. But here, it's like you have to drive, take your child for swimming or kung fu or for music lessons or for tennis, And the children see it as a normal thing because they have friends that do it. So if you don't do it, just look like as if you're not a serious parent. So I just think parenting generally is a totally different ball game here. Number 6 is the weather change celebration. See, I don't like winter, and winter is like half of the whole year. So that cold, it used to mess up with lots of people, even people that have been here for a very long time. They still complain. Even the people here that were born and brought up here, during the winter season, some of them travel to places that are warmer. So you start thinking, I like this country, but only during summer. But am I going to leave my job? Of course not. When it's getting towards spring, at least I'll be doing countdown. That's what I normally do. I think during the winter, it's only the first snow I usually enjoy. I'll be like, okay, it's usually so white. Like now, I'm already planning that my family and I are going to go out, build a snowman and everything. Once it's getting towards December, and you'll be like, oh, I still have January, I still have February, I still have March. Because sometimes you say, okay, it will be spring in March, but the snow will still be falling till April. And that can be so depressing at times. So I have learned to celebrate the weather change, especially during spring, because I know after spring is summer. So now I'm counting down to spring and summer next year. So number 7, building a community takes time. For someone like me that is an introvert, I have really, really struggled. I think most of my friends that I had initially, they are the wives of my husband's friends, because my husband kind of mixes faster than I do. So initially when I go to Canada, I would say like for the first 1 year, I don't even really have any friends. I was just more like a loner. So it really got to me. I had the consciousness that not everyone is going to be my friend. Some people are just going to be my acquaintances. That was what I started with. And I realized that sometimes it takes time, it takes effort, it takes communication. and it has actually been working very well. We are currently in a new city, and I can say that I've been able to make mom friends. I've been able to make friends that I've known before, friends of friends. It's just been a good thing. Anyway, these are just some of the few things that I've realized after 3 years of living in Canada. In fact, if I say I should be giving you the list, it's a long list, but I don't want to bore you. That's why I just said I'll give this 7, and I can come back with another part depending on how people enjoy this video. If you enjoyed this video, kindly like, share, subscribe. And if you are living in Canada or you are living outside Nigeria and you have one lesson that you've learned since you moved to another country, you can drop them in the comments so that I will know I'm not alone. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye.